Welcome to episode 2, Old Man's Garage. We're going to start on Project Get Shorty, which is our 1980 F-150 4x4 short box flareside. Lower your expectations. And we're going to go out and we'll do an extensive walk around, but it's going to be rough. She was driven pretty hard her whole life, and it definitely shows. I don't believe maintenance was a real concern for the previous owners. And yeah, she's in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, it's in spite of that, it's a cool vehicle. I know every time I've looked at it as the idea of doing this project was being discussed, the vehicle stirred something in me. It's got a cool factor. It's a sassy looking truck, and yeah, I think it's going to be a fun project.
You guys are going to look at this project and you think, well, what are you guys thinking? You know, that's too far gone. I mean, really, she's a spun bearing away from the scrap heap. But here we are. We're going to go on. We're going to try to. We're not going to try. We know we're going to get this thing back to, like new condition, something that anyone would be proud to drive, let alone take to a car show and display. And again, right? If you go back to our first video, you can do this in your garage. You don't need the big tools, don't need the big lifts, you don't need the CNC machines. You can do it all like we're going to do it. Now, the idea though of buying a truck so rough and with the entry point being $3,500 Canadian is all we spent on this vehicle. We could have spent more. We could have bought a similar vehicle in much better condition, much more complete for $9,000-$10,000. And even then, at that point, you still have to drag it onto a trailer and then bring it back and restore it. But you'd spend a lot less money on parts if you bought something a little bit nicer. And maybe in the long run, you'd be further off ahead. Conversely, you could buy one that's a good runner driver, but then you're going to be doubling your money yet again for your initial investment. The idea with this truck is it's a bullnose, and bullnoses have a lot of advantages.
They do. It's a basic truck. This is before they had all the onboard computers and body control modules, engine modules. It's simplistic. It's easy to work on. Parts are affordable, plentiful. Yeah, it's a good candidate.
And you look at, again, we talk about the affordability. So the bullnose is Ford trucks built from 1980 to 86, the seventh generation of Ford trucks. Go back one generation to the dent sides, 73 to 79, and already their prices have gone way up. It kind of reminds me of the first generation Bronco. I remember when I was younger, you could buy one in a farmer's field for a couple $1,000. And now just to buy a frame with a serial number on it is going to be $10,000 just to begin. These vehicles are commanding, hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're fully restored. And so they're just out of our price range. Dent side Fords, you know what? They're getting up there for sure. Particularly, you try to get a dent side short box flare side. And again, initial investment for a basket case is going to be more than double what we paid for our bullnose Ford. Now, the bullnoses are cheap now, but I think in the years to come, the value is going to go up.
Yeah, for sure.
With the value of the bullnoses being, pretty down right now as far as, entry-level vehicles to get into, buying this particular truck, as rough as it is, makes sense to us, considering our plan to buy a second truck, a parts truck, if you will. And again, because bullnoses are very reasonable, we're able to pick up the parts truck for $2,500. And man, I'll tell you, when you think of parts truck, you think of, it's no engine, missing the door, the box is not there. This truck is complete. And I know for a fact, and I don't blame anybody, I struggle with this myself. This is a vehicle that would be a good candidate for restoration.
Yeah, it would. It's so complete. It's a high trim level. It's a Lariat. Yeah, it's a nice truck. It certainly passes the 30-foot test when you're looking at it. The closer you get to it, you understand why we're calling it a parts truck. But yeah, I think it's going to give us a lot of parts. It's going to give us a nicer truck on the flare side than we would have had otherwise if we had just restored it at its existing trim. Yeah, so
And that's the thing. You say 30 feet, and you're talking about the rust. Now the parts truck's got a lot of rust on it, but man, you get up real close to it, and there's no dents.
no,
This is a one-family truck. The original owner was an older gentleman. He bought it. It was his pride and joy. He babied it. Again, the box has no dents. There's no dents. The trim is all perfect. And so yeah, the interior is pretty nice too, all complete. And as Ed said, it's a Lariat. It's got all the options you could have gotten in 1981, and so it's a very very nice truck. And if you're good with body work and you could do the sheet metal repair, which I think we could do, and we could repaint it, put a lift kit on it, some bigger tires, yeah, it'd be sweet. I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be some people upset, and by all means, comment, say, what are you guys doing? This truck should be restored. You guys are a bunch of idiots. That's totally fine. Just don't be too harsh with us. But you know what? It's going to sacrifice itself for, I think, a greater purpose.
yeah, for sure.
So let's go meet Shorty, and you can see, what we have to start with here. And you're probably wondering, what we're thinking. But we got a parts truck. We got a backup plan, and I think it's all going to turn out quite well at the end of the day.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Welcome to Project Get Shorty. This is our Ford F-150. She's 1980, short box, flare side, 4x4 with a V8 and 4-speed transmission. So from a desirability perspective, she ticks all the boxes. The downside is she is rough. This truck, as the cowboys would say, has been rode hard and put away wet. I would imagine the short box, especially a flare side, probably back in the day appealed to a younger buyer. And so they like to take it out and off-road with it. Maintenance maybe wasn't the best, but here she is. And the color, for example, what is this? According to the VIN number, it's supposed to be dark blue with a baby blue two-tone. But right now she's kind of faded out, gray, black, blue, who knows? And just to make it even that much more interesting, the entire truck seems to be coated in some form of bed liner. Now, going back to the pros of the restoration, in 1980, Ford went with a fiberglass rear fender. And for the first time, they tried to actually have the rear fender of the flare side complement the rest of the truck. Up until 1979, it was the same round steel fender that they were producing back in the 1950s. Don't get me wrong, it still looked cool, but they made no attempt whatsoever to match or complement the front of the truck. So this is their first attempt. They did it in fiberglass, and I think, personally speaking, it's one of the best looking flare side pickups that Ford made. Now, being as though it's fiberglass and it's got a lot of bed liner on it, trying to get the bed liner off, we can't use traditional means of heavy sanding or heat. So we've been experimenting with aircraft paint remover. And as you can tell, it does work without damaging the gel coat. And you can see the dark blue paint underneath the original paint it came with. So I think once we get the fenders off and get them mounted onto sawhorses, then we can really lay the aircraft paint stripper to it. And I think we'll have good success getting all of this bed liner off, and then we can start doing the fiberglass repair. The step on the flare side, on the passenger side, is in really good shape. Doesn't seem to be damaged or rusted out. The front of the box, though, has the big woe in it from something heavy in the back smashing up against the box when the brakes were applied. That should be an easy fix, especially considering that on the flare side, the front of the box will unbolt. And so we should be able to get it on a flat surface and get some pressure to it and straighten that out. The cab itself, it ain't great. The cab corners have rust perforation that we can see. And I'm pretty certain that once you tried to sandblast that, there'd be a lot more rust perforation. Now, cab corners, that's not the end of the world. But there's other things on this cab, as I'll show you as we go along, that kind of preclude it from being used for this project. The two drilled out holes in the cab pillar there, that was for the XLT emblem. Now, you might think, well, what about a lariat? Well, I don't think you could get a flareside with a lariat trim level in 1980 or 81. I don't think that was available. And why that is, I don't know. But that's just one of the quirky things that Ford was into at the time. Um, the door is, the passenger door is very rough. Lots of corrosion at the bottom of the door, and it folds itself around where the outer skin wraps into the door frame. It's all rusted out. In fact, this door, and I just noticed it, is not the correct door for the truck. You can see where there are holes along the bottom of the door where the body line molding was, and they had been filled with, just instead of being welded up, they were just had some Bondo put on, and now they're all starting to show through. And the mirror is held on with 3 screws at the top, as opposed to the half tons, which normally had just the 2. So this door, I'm not sure what it's from, what year it's from, or what model, but it wasn't original to this truck. The front fender, shockingly, is in really good condition and could be used. There's about a slight crease at the front where the front bumper banged into it. And without getting that mud flap off, it's hard to tell if there's rust in the wheel well area, but from what we can see now, it looks like it could be used. The front of the truck, well, now that's a different story. Again, with the being ridden hard and put away wet, the front bumper is toast. In the stories it could tell, the steel valance between the bumper and the grill is also all messed up. All of the grill, the aluminum and the chrome plastic is either cracked or got holes drilled into it. None of that is usable. Interestingly now, the grill itself is not correct for this year of truck. Ford didn't put the oval on their grill. I believe it was 82 is when they started doing that. And then they wouldn't have had the Ford letters on the hood. This truck being an 1980 vintage, it's got the letters on the hood, so it should have nothing in the grill. And the grill should be a lot more detailed and busier. Headlights, you got some funky looking halogen headlights, or LED headlights, sorry. He did put the previous owner put new signal light lenses in as well. They look quite bright and new. Problem is, they're not correct for this vintage. 1980 would have been clear signal light lenses. 81, they went to the amber. Personally, I like the amber over the clear, so I think we'll probably keep those signal light lenses. And again, until we can light those headlights up and see what they look like, we're kind of on the fence whether or not we'll use those or not. The driver's front fender is a real mess. It's got dents in it. It's got rust on it. It's not usable. It's not worth the time to repair. You can buy a new front fender for between $150 to $200. So it's just not worth trying to fix this thing and then have a fender full of patches and filler. It just doesn't make any sense. The driver's door is in really good condition, surprisingly. It's got one little crinkle at the bottom, and that can be easily dealt with. It does have the proper mirror brackets on it, the 2 bolts at the top and 2 bolts at the bottom. And I believe this door is original to the truck. We come around and we see that the side step for the box is in good shape as well. No rust, no dents, completely usable. However, the driver's rear fender has had a lot of damage to it, had some very poor repairs done to it. You can see underneath where the bed liner has flaked off that there is fiberglass where the guy just put the matting down, added some resin, and didn't do any gel coat after that. Didn't even sand it down properly because it's raised up. So that would probably explain why they went to the trouble of putting the bed liner on, was to cover up the sins of the pour fiberglass repair. Now, if we work our way to the back of the truck and look inside the box is pretty rough as well. The inside of the box, of course, the wood flooring is long gone. I think, you can buy the oak flooring for these trucks, the kits. They're about, anywhere from in Canadian dollars, probably up to $800 to $1,000. And then we have to deal with shipping. I think we're going to try and make our own wood floor. We've got some woodworking experience. We've got a table saw. We've got some dado blades. We've got a router. I don't see why we can't just go buy the hardwood, make our own box, and also, take our time sanding, lots of coats of varnish or lacquer, give it a really high gloss. The goal is to be able to walk up to this truck, look inside the box, and go, wow, that's impressive. So that's kind of what we're going to be aiming for here. I think the metal strips can be salvaged. We'll sandblast them, make any repairs we have to do, and then we'll paint them the body color of the truck. When it comes to the sides of the box on the inside, we have quite a bit of rust. If you look at the back, you can see at the very back how the lip comes over and works its way around and attaches to the bedside. But on this, it's pretty much all rotted away. So we're going to have to cut that out and put a new piece of angled metal there. Also, wherever there's a support or a brace on the side of the box, it seems to be rusting away. So water is obviously, let's say that where the stakes go into the bed, the stake pockets, there seems to be rust there on both sides and at the front. So that'll have to be removed and replaced. I guess the only good thing is it's all flat metal, more or less, and should be a fairly straightforward repair. So we'll take you along with us when we do the rust repair and show you the techniques that we use, and we'll try and get this bed looking back to like new condition. Now, the gas tank looks to be new or newer, so hopefully that's something that we can clean up and we can reuse. That'll save us a bunch of money. Shockingly, the rear bumper brackets are still here. They look to be fairly straight, look to be fairly usable. We have one bracket that looks like it got actually broken off and then tacked back on again. So we'll take that down and we re-weld that, make it look proper. There is no bumper, but surprise, surprise, the brackets are here. So we'll definitely be making use of those. All right, so here's the interior of Shorty. You can see the driver's door, as we mentioned before, is in good shape. And I think we'll be using this driver's door. It's got, you can see if you look at the jamb, the original color is a navy blue or dark blue. They call it metallic or pearl, with the baby blue, or I think Ford calls it Bahama blue two-tone. And then you can see how the pinstripes went. They're actually, the pinstripes Ford used for this model were quite dramatic. They were, oversized and gave the truck a really nice look. The door panel itself, you can tell it was a Ranger XLT because of the chrome molding on the door panel. It's in good shape. It appears to be in good shape with no cracks or breaks, but again, painted black. It's probably salvageable, but you definitely have to get the original color back. Unfortunately, with this really nice door, someone put one of those 6x9 speakers in the door, which leaves a pretty big hole, which will have to be addressed. So we have to spend some time welding in metal to that hole. And of course, it's got reinforcing contours to it as well. So we'll show you how we tackle that. Now, going to the cab itself, the rocker panel has got a lot of damage to it. It's got a hole in it. The back of the rocker panel to the back of the cab is all corroded. And so the rocker panel itself would have to be replaced. If we look at the floor, there's a perforation in the floor itself by the gas pedal. And I'm certain that if you sandblasted this floor, it'd be like Swiss cheese when you got it back from the sandblasters. So in all likelihood, the floors would have to be replaced. The dash itself, the wood grain around the cluster is original and it's well worn. The cluster itself, even though it's a 4-speed truck, the fact that and it's an XLT, it still has very few options. And one of them is there's no factory tachometer. So someone along the way has put an aftermarket tach in, which is, it's unfortunate because there was a place there for a factory tach. The dash 2 was painted black. The dash pad is cracked pretty severely. It'd be a lot of work to try to repair that, and I don't know if it'd be worth the time and effort. The seats are a later model Bronco low back bucket seat, and they're red, and they've got some holes in the fabric. Again, not correct. It should have a bench seat. Bench seat is long gone, so you'd have to, doing what we want to do with it, taking it back to a factory look, we'd have to source a seat. And so you get a seat and then get it in the right color. I would probably more than likely have to have it recovered. And that would cost you, like I know recovering a seat is upwards of $2,000 at an upholsterer shop. So there's a big expense to try to get the seat right in this truck. The real killer for this cab is the sunroof. At some point, someone put the sunroof in. It was a popular option back in the day. But man, you just cut a massive hole in the roof of your truck, and pretty much you're committed to keeping the sunroof in there if you want to use this truck or this cab for your project. To take that sunroof out, to form the metal with complex curves, to weld it in without warping the cab, and then to do the reinforcing ribs on the inside layer of metal. I mean, it wouldn't be realistic to do. So basically, this cab is not going to be used on our project. So that's it for the interior, or what there is left of it. There might be some parts we can use. Again, we're not going to throw nothing away until we're sure that we got all that we need. Ed, what were you thinking? That thing's a pile of junk.
Yeah, but it ticks all the boxes. It's a short box, flareside, 4x4, 4-speed.
Yeah, and every part on that vehicle needs attention. I mean, I don't think there's anything on that vehicle that doesn't need to be taken apart, refurbished, or replaced.
Don't worry, we have a plan.